right, what are we doing here, baby?
We're doing the episode.
All right, what does that mean?
We're doing the episode.
I don't know what is this show? Who are you?
Huh? Anyways,
This is staying in, right?
yeah, for sure. We'll do a cold open. Hello. Welcome to Is It Better Than Paddington 2, the movie review show where myself and a guest come together to discuss whatever film I have chosen for this week and ask the ever-important question, is it better than Paddington 2, the film that dethroned Citizen Kane's rating on Rotten Tomatoes? I'm your host, Ben Selsor. Joining me today is my special guest.
Your beautiful boy, Riley Justin Bertacchi Needham.
It's the man himself, the executive director of Cult of Media.
I try my best.
You do great. In this episode, what movie are we looking at this episode, right?
We're watching one of my faves, my favorite full-length movie. I have a favorite movie in general, but this is my favorite feature film.
Right.
That is The School of Rock.
Right. Heck yeah.
Starring the illustrious Jack Black, of course.
Of course, one of my favorite actors of all time. So what are your initial thoughts on School of Rock that you'd like to share with the audience?
All right. So School of Rock is a movie for tweens, right? But it's not the most cinematic masterpiece ever. But the writing and the execution of it are so flawless almost. I've sat and talked about it with one of my friends before, that there are not many pieces of cinema that will promise you something and deliver on every single promise. And it's something that School of Rock does for everything. It gives you everything you want and more, right? And the plot twist in the middle, also spoilers, I guess.
Yeah.
But
in my opinion, I don't think I've ever included a spoiler warning on this show, because if you're watching a movie review and you get mad at a spoiler, that's on you.
That is fair. But even the twist in the middle is so perfectly concocted to kind of bring you into that world of dread, and then the kids bringing him out of it and you with them it's such a powerful setup. Every single promise that's made in the movie, I can't remember her name, the girl who gets to sing at the end, she gets to do her solo. Tamika gets to do her solo. Zach, the guitarist.
Yep.
Sorry, it's been a while since I've watched it. Gets to do his solo. There's so much promise, and it's delivered upon in spades.
It's a lot of foreshadowing early on that does get fulfilled later in the movie. And the only other movie that I can say does that with every single promise it makes is Bullet Train from 2022.
Yeah.
Everything that you see on screen in both of those movies is important and will be delivered upon later.
Yeah.
And not a lot of movies do that. There's a lot of movies that will just bring up this thing and then that plot line is never resolved.
Or it's just it's just to fake you out.
Right, exactly.
Right?
And that's
it's lazy.
That's bad writing.
Yeah.
If you include something that is not important to the overall story just for the sake of pulling a gotcha on your audience, then
what are you doing?
Maybe you just suck. Maybe you're not a good writer.
Yeah. I will say also something that is so brilliant about School of Rock is it's so weird. And
right? It's such a weird concept.
It's 2000s weird too, which is often does not age well at all. Most of Ryan Gosling's filmography is the cringiest shit to watch now.
Yeah.
Right? All those 90s movies of I went back to my hometown and I used to be fat, but now I'm skinny and hot and I live in LA.
2000s tropes, late 90s, early 2000s film tropes that have just kind of become that's kind of crappy.
Yeah. Fully. But despite all this, School of Rock is such a charming and enjoyable movie. Every time I see it, I'm yes.
And a big thing about it, going back to the tropes thing, there's a lot of moments in School of Rock where it could fall into those tropes.
Oh my God, absolutely.
And immediately decides not to. The part that I always think of, one of my favorite parts in the movie, is when the one kid, I cannot remember his name, Jack Black is going around, Dewey Finn, played by Jack Black, pretending to be Ned Schneebly, is going around assigning roles to all the students of the roles that they will play in the band. And he gets these few boys up and he's like, you guys are going to be the security detail. You're going to soundproof this room, make sure that we don't get caught.
Yeah.
And one of the boys is just like, can I be the stylist instead? And the easy joke there is like, no, you're a boy. Why would you want to be the stylist? But Dewey is immediately just like, heck yeah, man, of course. You want to be the stylist? Be the stylist.
Yeah.
And there's so many moments like that where it's just like it could fall into the typical 2000s film tropes of shitting on whatever community, but it doesn't. And it's just like very encouraging and uplifting, and like you can do what you want to and what makes you happy.
And I think what's probably the most successful part of it is that, yes, it's a kids movie with some like adult themes, whatever.
Right.
Like it makes more sense if you're like 13, 14, but none of the message feels like I'm being punched. Right. Because the whole movie is about being yourself and how that is how it's supposed to be, regardless of the journey it takes to get there. Right. Like that is Dewey Finn's whole character arc.
Right.
He thinks he can't be himself. So he literally becomes another person. And through doing that, learns that he himself is a great teacher.
Right.
Who like has this passion for teaching kids. And like, it's such a good example of writing that doesn't ham-fist it. Like so many like kids movies, not to be like a boomer, but so many kids movies these days are like, this movie is about being a good person. Look, at every turn, this character makes the choice about being a good person, and it works out for them. And the people that aren't good people don't get the good stuff at the end. Wah, wah.
Yeah, it very much like it's for a younger audience, but it never is talking down to them. It treats them. It treats them with a lot more maturity than a lot of kids movies will do these days, or even like in the days that it was being made. It just handles like every plot line and like every message with such an air of like, you can figure this out. We don't have to tell you what's going on. Because it's there. You can figure it out.
And it's through the message of like rock and roll, dude.
For real, which is a like music.
Genius.
Music is a universal language. Like very, very few people in this world do not like music in some form or another. And that doesn't have to be rock and roll. It could be pop music or rap or country or whatever genre you want it to be. But music is something that
it's
just
so
like
connecting.
It speaks to human nature in a way that most forms of art don't.
No, absolutely. And it's such a perfect vehicle. Again, it promises and it delivers. Right. We have the promise of this epic rock show at the top of the movie. Not even at the top. We have this rock star who is shunned because he's too...
literally in the first 5 minutes that the Battle of the Bands brought up.
Yeah. And then we get this promise, this building promise of like, oh, the kids are going to play a show. It's going to be awesome. They're going to play this, they're going to play the silly song that Jack wrote about, oh, the rent was hardcore, blah, blah, blah. Or Dewey Finn, pardon me.
We can call him Jack Black. People know.
That's fair.
He's Jack Black.
Yeah.
So. Except Jack Black isn't a loser. Neither is Dewey Finn.
Well, by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And we get this big promise of like, oh, these kids are going to play this song. It's going to be dope. And then even further, the kid, Zach, like goes out of his comfort zone and writes a song, and Dewey says, yes, that's the one. That's what we're doing. And it's like this beautiful build. And then it gives you the twist of like, oh no, they can't do it. Right. You got ousted, blah, blah, blah. And then can we swear?
Yeah.
And then it fucking delivers. Like that movie is worth the hour and a half runtime just for that last 5 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
oh my god.
Like every main character in the movie, regardless of how small their role is in the movie, does have a role to play and has their own little arc that they go through.
There's not a wasted part.
Exactly. One of my favorite characters in the film is Lawrence, who plays the keyboard in the band later. And he starts off as like this really like shy, quiet kid, very smart, very skilled at playing the keys. But after like the band gets kind of established, he goes to to Dewey and is just like, hey, I don't think I can be in the band. Like, I'm not cool.
Yeah.
And only cool guys are in bands. And Dewey's just like, dude, the fact that you are in a band
Makes you
cool. Like,
Yeah.
you could be the fattest, schlubbiest dude on earth.
He's just like me for real.
For real. He's just like me for real. But if you are like being yourself and giving yourself to, like, giving everything that you have to this skill that you have honed over the course of your life, that makes you cool. There's nothing cooler than that you can do than do that.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he gives Lawrence this little uplifting talk there, and at the end of the show, like at the end of the movie, whenever they're playing the Battle of the Bands, like Lawrence gets like a little keyboard solo. He gets a solo in the song.
Delivers on every promise.
Exactly. And he looks and feels cool while doing it. And like, he's overcome those inner demons of his own.
And they even get the shot of the dad's cut in there where it's like, your son's very talented. Thank you, so is yours. It's like the parents even realize that they've been like stubbing their kids out. It's incredible. It's so good. Sorry, I love
no, you're
this
so right.
movie.
It's one of the best stories of not only being yourself, but like letting your children be themselves, letting your children pursue their passions and their goals and become the people that they want to be on their terms. Because that's another thing. All of the kids, they don't necessarily overcome these struggles because of Dewey Finn. They get a pep talk from Dewey, and then they overcome the struggles on their own terms.
Yes.
Like, Dewey never tells Zach, hey, you know what would probably make you feel better? Try writing a song. He just gives a lecture about general songwriting, and that inspires Zach to later go and write a song completely on his own. Mm-hmm. And then they workshop it together, and then they play that at the Battle of the Bands, even though they say it's a song that they haven't practiced very much and that they're better with the other song.
Yeah.
But it's not important because Zach's
it's his song
rocks,
dude.
And it's
rocks. His song.
Teacher's Pet is one of...
It's a banger.
It's one of the best, like, original songs composed for a movie.
I'm getting literal, like... Y'all can feel my skin. I'm getting literal chills thinking about the scene.
It's so good.
And that sounds like a nerd ass thing to say, but like,
you're so right. Anybody who has seen this movie understands
and genuinely paid attention to it.
Yeah,
because every single little thing. I mean, Ned Schneebly is what a fantastic fucking character. I love that it's the writer of the movie too.
Yeah,
that's such a fucking hilarious choice.
Like he.
Again, his art.
And I love, so, like, Ned Schneebly is, like, this substitute teacher.
Yeah, he's the perfect foil for Dewey.
Yeah, he is the exact opposite of Dewey. Dewey is a slacker. He's a rocker. He wants to live life on his own terms. Ned Schneebly, like, gave up rock.
Yeah, he was a successful musician, but became a teacher.
He was a really good musician, but he gave up rock to be a substitute teacher, and he has a really manipulative girlfriend named Patty, I think.
Fuck her.
So true.
She sucks.
She's the worst character, but she's supposed to be.
That's the point. She's the double foil.
Yeah, and Ned and Dewey are perfect foils of each other. Mm-hmm. Dewey impersonates Ned to get the substitute teacher job so he can pay his rent.
Yeah. In the process, becoming a great teacher, like Ned is,
and in the process, becoming a great teacher in his own way, and
inspiring.
At the end of the movie, whenever they're going to the Battle of the Bands, Ned finally stands up to Patty and is just like, "I'm going to the show. Do you want to come?" Yeah. And Patty starts chewing him out, asking him like when he's going to grow a spine and stand up for himself.
He slams the fucking
slams that door in her face. Just complete like she doesn't. It's so good because she doesn't even know that what she's telling him to do
he's exactly doing it.
Like is the exact instructions he needs to get away from her,
like
not
that
away from
30-second scene. Perfect.
Oh,
fucking divine.
It's just, oh my god, it's so good.
Like every beat in it, it is maybe the most economical and satisfying storytelling that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. It's just got like perfect like ups and downs, twists and turns in every space that it needs them to be.
And they all serve to teach a lesson.
Right.
That's the thing, is that none of them are tertiary or secondary.
Right.
It's all part of the main plot.
Like another part where it's a beat that isn't just there to fake you out, it's there to serve a purpose. It's after like Dewey goes to teach at the school after getting chewed out by Patty that morning, and he's just in like the worst mood, and he tells the kids that like is like still in his first week of teaching at school, and he tells the kids like, give up your dreams, everything's pointless, everything sucks, your dreams aren't going to come true. And at that moment, the principal, what's her name? Rosalie Mullins.
Yes.
Mrs. Mullins.
Roz Mullins.
At this,
what a queen.
After, like, in the middle of his, like, speech, like, telling the kids to give up on their dreams, Mrs. Mullins, the principal, comes in and says, hey, it's time for the kids to have music class. And he hears the kids playing music, and he realizes that he doesn't have to give up on his dreams. Which this next part's going to sound bad. He can use these kids to fulfill his dreams.
Yes.
But then he learns that he wasn't just like using the kids for his own personal gain. He was learning how to become a great teacher and how to like come into his own and follow his dreams in the most perfect way, and also teaches the kids to accept and love themselves.
That's what I'm saying. He learns to be, the kids teach him as much as he teaches them.
Exactly.
I'm also going to say, because Ben and I are huge fucking D&D nerds, if you've listened to our show.
Hell yeah.
I think we like this so much is because it's structured like a good D&D game.
Yeah.
Right? You get the promise of the big bad at the top of it, and that's the Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
And every seeming
it's an encounter.
Side quest you go through is so that you learn something so you can eventually beat the big bad. Right? Because Brendan Lee Mulligan talks about how D&D players want to beat the final boss as fast as possible.
Yes.
But they don't want it to be, imagine a river going down a mountain.
Yes.
Right? If it's a straight shot down, it's boring.
Right.
They want the most curved yet efficient path to get to the final boss. So having all these different characters on their curved paths all eventually intertwining perfectly at the end with the Battle of the Bands, where they lose but still win
because the audience loves them.
Yes, and because they win interpersonally. The money was never about the money.
It was never about like actually winning the Battle of the Bands. Like at first it was, but then later it becomes about just rocking out with everybody. And at the Battle of the Bands, like everything coalesces, everybody's there, like all the major players
the lights,
are there,
the visuals,
and they play Teacher's Pet, which is an incredible song. They play that song, and in doing so, Dewey Finn comes into his own and fulfills his dream, and at the same time is a better person now than he was whenever he started. The kids are all like fulfilling their dreams, like doing the things that they wanted to that are established way early on. They're all fulfilling their arcs, and then all of the parents and the other teachers are fulfilling their own like little mini arcs where they realize they realize that they have been too hard on these kids and like too overbearing, and they realize like seeing how like talented and skilled their kids are, they realize, oh, this has been a good thing for them. Like they have been doing well because of this man. And at the end, the School of Rock loses to Dewey's old band, No Vacancy.
Yeah.
and the audience, which is like highly comprised of these adults that like these parents and these teachers and like
and just regular
in
rockers
the audience and other rockers, they are pissed about
because
it. Because as good as No Vacancy might be as a band, they were only concerned with winning. They didn't have soul to their music.
And so we proved Dewey right, while he also becomes the best version of himself he can be.
It's so good.
It's fucking genius.
And I'm gonna bring up another element, because Andrew Lloyd Webber, who is a famous playwright and composer, he made a musical version of School of Rock, which is just as good as the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It perfectly preserves all of the major elements of the movie while adding its own little spin to it through the form of it being a musical. Yeah. So a lot of the moments in the movie that are just kind of little dialogue moments become musical moments. So like the talking to that Dewey gets from Patty before he goes and gives the give up on your dreams thing, that is turned into a song called Give Up Your Dreams.
That's so funny.
Is so funny. Like she goes like, give up your dreams are dumb and lame. It's so good. And it also like has a song called Stick It to the Man, which is angry and strong.
Oh, yeah.
It's got these big power chords and guitar solos in them. And there's like a song for Rosalie Mullins where she talks about how much she misses like the old days before she was a principal.
Yeah.
And she got to rock out.
Yeah.
And so it like takes these like smaller moments in the movie and blows them up to like these huge focuses in the musical that help accentuate everything right that the movie already did. And I'm not saying that the musical is better than the movie, but like it's at least as good, like just as good.
No, absolutely.
And it's fucking awesome.
I will also say, like, the movie being about rock and roll, right, is such a genius thing.
Yeah, it's like it's inherent to the soul of the movie.
Yeah, let me cook.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you cook.
So, the movie being about rock and roll is one of those things that is so smart, because as a kid, I thought, whatever. I mean, I was an edgy little fucking 12-year-old at one point in my life. I still am, let's be honest.
For real.
But like, I was listening to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and all these bands and whatever, and like being like, oh yeah, rock and roll, metal, this rules, right? And that was my whole thing. I had nothing but band tees until I was like 15. And so like appealing to that audience and telling them that it's cool to be uncool is so fucking important.
Yeah, it's
like it spoke to me so much as a kid because it was it's a movie for me. It's a movie for weirdos.
Right.
And outcasts.
It hits like it hits in just the right spot.
Yeah.
Because I said that like this could be any genre, but the movie specifically has to be rock and roll.
Absolutely.
Because whenever rock and roll was starting to become a thing, it was a rebellious genre of music, especially like in the form that we know it today. Like it went against the grain. It went against what music was.
It wasn't jazz.
It wasn't jazz. There was not a trumpet in sight.
Yeah.
There was not a brass horn in sight.
Until they brought him back, and then it was tight.
And then it was ska.
I love ska.
Ska's great.
Our producer's shaking his head.
We're not talking about ska right now. But rock and roll itself was such a rebellious genre of music.
Yeah,
and in the 80s, people were calling it satanic. It was the devil's music. It was wrong to listen to. It was gonna make your kids disobey you. But like it's so important to make this movie about that, because that's exactly what these kids are doing. They're going against everything that they have been taught and everything they've learned, and they are becoming themselves because of it.
Yes. And also having it be about rock and roll and having characters who are old that used to be rockers.
Yes.
Genius
Super
for parents.
Important.
But my mom loves this movie because she can relate to it. She used to listen to Stevie Nicks and dance in her living room.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It is genius. And it also isn't just for the weirdos also, right? Because you can see this. And I don't think there's someone in our general age group, millennial Gen Z, who wasn't like, at some point, like, yeah, rock stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not one kid since 1995 that didn't see a rock star and go, God, wouldn't that be awesome?
Right.
God, wouldn't being a rock star be awesome?
Right.
And so it also fills, because I was a musician also. That's the thing, is I've been playing drums since I was like 10. So having that, like, I every time I watched that movie as a kid, I got off it and went on my drum kit, because I'm like, it's as inspiring now to me going to concerts. That's like where I find the most inspiration, is I'll go to like one of my favorite bands. Like we saw Ghosts over the summer. I saw Cake with my mom like a month ago, and after seeing those musicians play on those big stages, it's inspiring. And that's School of Rock is where I got the first taste of that. Oh, I gotta play.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta rock.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, like going back to your point about like how most of the adult characters used to be rockers. Like Ned Schneebly used to be a rocker,
and all different
Rosalie
types.
Mullins used to be a rocker. Yeah, all different like subgenres of rock and metal.
Yeah.
And that's like super important, because not only does it tell like kids watching the movie like, hey, you can be yourself, and if what you are is against what society says you should be, that's not necessarily an issue.
Yeah.
And it also tells adults who may be like way past that point
Oh,
in your life.
I miss
like,
being fun and young.
yeah, like it's never too late to keep being fun.
Yeah.
Like you don't, just because you're like in your 30s or 40s or 50s or even well past that, doesn't mean you can't still rock out. If anything, that's the best time to be doing it. It's so good. And like to your point of like seeing musicians and being so inspired by them.
Yeah.
Like it's just such like an ethereal experience. Like this movie, you could not make this movie about any other form of art.
No.
It has to be music.
You can make it about jazz and it would be really funny.
School of Jazz would be an awesome movie, but it has to be music though. Like you couldn't have like School of Painting.
No.
You couldn't have School of Costume Design or whatever. This has to be about rock, about music, because music is like one of those art forms, especially like live performance art.
It's
music.
so deeply human.
It's so deeply human, and it's like this combination, this like massive combination of every form of art. Every form of art can apply to music.
Yeah.
And that's shown like in this movie. There's graphic design in this movie. There's lighting design.
Yes.
There's costume design.
Oh my God, there's fiber arts
There's
are in
drawing.
the movie.
There's painting. There's everything.
Yeah.
And you can't
There's logistics, which is its own form of art.
Like you can't have that with any other form of art. Like every other form of art is fairly isolated. And some forms like draw like
Unless you're
elements
being
from
really
others.
experimental.
Yeah, unless you're being
That's
really
why I like video
experimental.
so much.
Yeah, but like music and live performance art music, that is the only thing that combines like every form of art there is under one banner, and it is something that everybody can enjoy no matter what.
Absolutely. I mean, if you know me, you know I'm the world's most annoying Ghost fan.
Of course.
And just
followed closely by Adam Kiefer.
Yeah. And Ben Selsor.
And Ben
my
Selsor.
three main fellas. But like, if you haven't enjoyed some Ghost in your life, go do it. But do me the favor and look up Ghost Imperator set, because oh my God, the amount of production design in their setup to play for 2 hours, they tear it down, they move it, and play the next day for 2 hours and call it a night.
For real.
The amount, I mean, they spent $5,000 on each one of their masks at least.
Yeah.
Because these are custom by an artist. They brought in a custom leather worker for just the things that they wear on their fucking heads.
Not even the full outfits.
No,
just
the masks.
And that's not even bringing up like the lead singer Tobias Forge's mask, which is custom made to fit his face.
Yes.
And is made to make him look like a different person.
Yeah, fully. You can't tell they're the same person if you look at the picture.
Exactly.
Or if you look at the background, the beautiful paintings that are illuminated on the backdrop. It is so incredible seeing all these different art forms brought together
by music.
By fucking music. By fucking rock and goddamn roll.
Rock and roll and metal and whatever else you want to call it. Like one of the best genres of music ever created.
Yeah.
The best genre if you're cool.
You goddamn right.
It's I got it. Okay. We've been gushing about music.
We got to talk
for
about
like
the
half
movie.
an hour. Yeah, we should probably talk about the movie. So
we've been talking about the movie.
We've been talking about the movie, but we've been also like going off on tangents, which is great. I love this.
Sure.
I want to talk about some of the characters. In particular, I want to talk about Summer.
Yes.
Miranda Cosgrove's baby Miranda Cosgrove's character.
So funny.
Summer's like one of the adults condensed down to tiny child form.
Yeah.
She's very responsible. She's very analytical. She's by
so
the books,
starched.
rule follower.
Yeah.
And she has her own arc in a way. So like she's down to do the band thing because she thinks it's a school project.
Yeah.
And later on when it's revealed that that's not what that ever was, she's still down to do it.
She's the one who's like, no, fuck it. We did all this work. We're putting on this show.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
And she's not a performer. Like she tries to sing whenever Dewey's trying to figure out who can sing, and she sings badly. She sings really badly. But that doesn't mean anything because Dewey finds another place that she can use her own particular talents, which is being the band manager.
That's why I mentioned logistics as an art form.
Exactly. Summer is one of the only members of the class that does not like perform on stage.
No, and the movie wouldn't happen without her.
Exactly. She is just as important, if not even more important, than all of the members of the band.
Yeah, I mean,
because without her, they would never go to the Battle of the Bands. Without her, they would never like meet any of the deadlines that they have set for themselves. Because this movie takes place over the course of 3 weeks. 3 weeks to put together a band, teach these kids how to play rock, write a song, design costumes, design a light show, do all of this shit that goes into putting on a performance in 3 weeks. Are you kidding me? And without Summer, it wouldn't have been possible.
It's another example of the fucking genius and economical storytelling of the movie.
Yeah, because like Summer is like, compared to like the other rockers, Summer could be considered lame or boring or the man, as they would put it. And because she has all of those traits, she's like a mini little Rosalie Mullins.
Yeah.
But she's not.
Yeah.
She
gets it. By the end, she fully grasps it.
She just she gets it. She just fucking gets it. I don't know how else to explain it other than the words she gets it. And that's what sets her apart from the other adult characters. And that's the moment at the show at the end, at the Battle of the Bands, that's when they get it. That's when the other adults get it.
Yep.
Like, her arc is the same arc that all the other adults in the show go through, but we experience their arc through her because she is just like them, and we see her become more of herself and more of a rocker in her own special way. And that's another thing. Like, there's no one right way to rock.
Yeah.
That's a big message of the movie.
It's the best part is that it doesn't matter how you do it. Be weird.
Be weird.
Be you.
Be you. And if you
are a logistical nerd, even fucking better.
And even if you are normal, that's fine. Because if that's who you are, then as long as you are being who you are, then you are doing something right.
Yeah.
And if who you are is a logistics nerd who likes to get good grades and study hard, then that is awesome. Be that.
Yeah. And help all the other weirdos who don't know what time management is
do
what they need to do.
And if who you are is somebody who wants to just absolutely shred on guitar and write songs and be a rock star, then be that.
Yeah.
You can just do it.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And you don't have
Bringing it back to Lawrence.
Exactly.
If you do it, you're cool. You don't have to be cool to do it. The fact that you're doing it makes you fucking cool.
Exactly. Like, and the coolest thing that you can do is be yourself.
You.
And if you are uncool, but you're being you anyway, you're the
still
coolest
way
person
cooler.
in the room.
Yeah.
If you are a total dork, if you are a dweeb, if you're a nerd.
Me?
If you're me, if you're Riley, if you're Adam.
Yeah, fuck you.
If you're producer, if you are
producer
our producer
Adam who's
Kiefer,
giving us a big thumbs up.
If you are
love you, buddy,
just a weird nerd who wants to be that, and you are being that, you are infinitely cooler than every person who's putting a face on to look cooler to their peers.
Yep.
If the coolest thing you can do is not give a fuck what people think.
You're goddamn right.
And that's what this movie teaches you. It's
beautiful.
It's perfect.
It delivers on every promise.
I genuinely,
that is a perfect piece of media.
I could gush about this movie forever.
Yeah. I mean, we could break it down by the minute.
We need to talk about Jack Black. This, for those who don't know, School of Rock is Jack Black's favorite movie that he has ever made.
And he's goddamn right.
And the reason why is that for him is because this movie inspired so many kids to get into music.
Me.
It inspired you. It inspired hundreds of thousands of kids.
Yeah.
To get into music and to start being themselves and to start rocking because of this movie. And that is something that Jack Black takes incredible pride in. And that's what makes it his favorite movie that he has ever made.
Yeah.
And that is just so incredible and heartwarming to me because he is for sure made movies that are like way more successful.
Oh,
or
sure.
Like he starred in like big IP movies before.
I mean, he was Bowser.
He was Bowser in Super
Mario
Mario Bros.
Like one of the most recognizable characters ever.
Definitely like one of, if not the most recognizable gaming characters in history,
Surely.
besides Mario himself.
Yeah.
But it's this movie, this small movie from 2003 that's not like cinematically a masterpiece or anything. It's just this movie about a guy teaching kids how to rock.
And learning to love what he does.
And it's that is his favorite because
Yeah.
of the impact it had on people around the world.
I mean, the joy that I have a lot of instruments.
Yes.
Right? I've been playing music most of my life.
Yes.
And collecting toys along the way. One of my favorite things to do is whatever, I'm hanging out with a buddy. It's not our first time hanging out, but it's nowhere near, we're nowhere near like tight. Right. And when I have my drum set set up, I love being like, they'll say like, oh man, I wish I could play an instrument. I say, okay, sit down. Right.
Dang.
And like, I did this with our buddy Rachel.
Yeah.
Where they were like, man, I wish I could play drums. And I said, okay, sit down. And I taught them how to play drums. And the look on their fucking face, I will never forget. Because I taught them how to play a little white boy beat in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I can empathize so hard with Jack Black. If I am, honestly, me playing music, if it does nothing but inspire more people to play music, that's more than I would ever need.
Yeah, like...
I mean, I'd love some money for playing music. That would be so good. But
getting money for your passions is always great.
But if 5 people came up to me after a show and said, "Hey, man, I saw you play like a year ago, and I picked up guitar because of it," I would be I would start crying.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't imagine. So I can fully get why he says that this is his favorite movie. It's my favorite movie of his.
Mm-hmm.
To be sure, it's my favorite feature-length movie.
He's just...
Period.
And like, the joy of creating something is something that I think, like, it has to be a universal feeling. Obviously,
oh my God.
I have not spoken with all 8 billion people on planet Earth, but like the amount of happiness I get whenever I have created something and now like I'm seeing the final product before my eyes.
The elation of creation is unbounded.
Exactly.
Like,
and
that was so corny. I didn't mean for that to rhyme.
It was great. And just like the idea that something that I make could one day inspire somebody else to make something themselves.
Yeah.
Is so it fills my heart with so much love for what I do. Like just recently we released our first episode of a new show, WZRD, The Wizard. And it is a silly, dumb concept that I came up with in a subway last semester.
Yeah, we got Subway and talked to each other about it.
About the concept of a wizard-themed radio show.
Yeah.
And months later, after an entire summer of
us doing bullshit,
doing nothing,
and
then half a semester of
we're
writing,
gonna do this,
of
planning,
like half a semester of planning and writing and recording and editing and meetings after meetings after meetings when we were figuring this out.
Tell me about it.
Finally it came out.
Episode 1's done.
Episode 1 is done. It is on on the Cult of Media YouTube channel. Please check it out. Please.
I'm begging.
Because like hearing people talk about it,
biggest smile on my face when I
saw
send my friends.
I saw that message earlier that somebody said, I can't remember if it was Adam or Maddie. It was Maddie said that she thought that she heard people talking about Wizard in the dining hall. I was losing it.
I mean,
I was so freaking happy.
Dude,
The idea that this stupid little idea I came up with because I was trying to change my Twitter username several months ago could be something that people completely independent of me are talking about. The idea that I've made art that reaches people that I don't even fucking know.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine if you did that to 300,000 kids and inspire them to be the next generation of rockers? Are you kidding me?
I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, like, I'd be beside myself.
If the art that I have made somehow inspired
One person.
hundreds of thousands of people
Yeah.
to get into like the stuff that I do, writing fantasy, recording, doing like
Being a
voice
wizard.
doing voice acting, being a wizard, whatever. The idea that like this little project that I came up with one day could inspire hundreds of thousands of people,
Let alone one.
let one, even just one person,
Yeah.
but hundreds of thousands of people to take up writing.
It's unbelievable in the original sense.
Exactly.
It's incredible. It lacks credibility.
It's something I can only imagine, and with School of Rock, Jack Black has experienced it.
Yeah.
He's a huge inspiration of mine.
Yeah.
In particular, like even I'm not a great musician. I can tickle the keys a little bit.
Bang out the tunes.
Yeah, but it's mostly like I don't have like the foundations yet to like become like a musician and start writing my own music or anything like that. And that's fine. I'm fine with that. Like I will get that eventually.
Yeah.
Whenever I can afford it.
Capitalism, baby.
Exactly. But like Jack Black is like a huge inspiration to me in performing. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. He's hilarious.
Being an actor and a voice actor. Like when somebody tells me, multiple people have told me that I either look like Jack Black, remind them of Jack Black, look like I could be related to Jack Black, biggest smile on my face every single time because he is such a big inspiration to my work as a performer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rather than just as a musician.
Yeah. I will say, I've also gotten those comments. Literally, I counted 9 times out of 10, it's from French people.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is a weird fun fact about me. Even as a child, I was in France, and like 5 of the adults that I talked to, they were like, "Oh, you are like little Jack Black," and I say, "Okay, thanks." And since then, every time someone says you remind me of Jack Black, I ask them, "Hey, are you French?" And they say, "Yeah."
That's so funny.
It's so weird.
No, like, because whenever I was auditioning for the School of Rock musical, I would tell people like after the fact, like after that had already passed and I didn't have the part, but like before and after, I would tell people I'm auditioning for this, and I'm auditioning to be Dewey Finn in School of Rock, Jack Black's character, and every single time one of them they would say, "I could see it," and oh my god, it makes me so happy, every single time. I love that people can see me in such a
through
role.
line.
Yeah, they can see how I could be that.
Yeah.
And that's enough to keep me going, honestly. That is enough to keep me creating, to keep me making art. And even if I don't end up making music someday, like even if I just end up like on the post-production side of things of making
an
music,
album that someone loves.
God, I'd be so happy.
Yeah.
Like it was something you were telling me a while ago when we were talking. Like tell me your favorite piece of music that has not been mixed or edited in post-production.
No, it's a Jim Lill quote. Yeah, it's show me your favorite guitar tone that hasn't been recorded, edited, and mastered. I'll wait.
There isn't one.
Yes, because
there are very few.
Yeah,
and I guarantee almost none of them are your favorite.
Well, they don't exist, literally. Because how are you going to show someone that sound from a concert? Mm-hmm. You're gonna whip out your phone. Guess what?
Recorded.
Yeah, recorded through a microphone, double corrected for volume and tone by an engineer. Right? There is no part of music and voice and video even that doesn't pass through 30 people's hands to bring it to you.
Exactly.
And even being a little part of that is a magical fucking experience.
Exactly. Like I am just thinking about how Jack Black feels about this movie and how it has inspired people.
Yeah.
He's not the only person in this movie.
No.
There's dozens and dozens of actors and then hundreds of people on the production team.
Yeah.
Imagine how they feel that they've had like any amount of a part in such a project that has inspired so many people.
I hope they recognize
to be themselves. I really hope they do.
Because I can't imagine that. Like, I would love to imagine that feeling.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's impossible to imagine that feeling until you felt it.
Yeah. It's inconceivable.
Oh my gosh. It just like thinking about it like gives me chills.
Yeah. So to bring it back to the movie.
Yeah, let's talk about the movie.
It's great.
It's great. It's so great.
So what about Paddington 2, huh?
What about it?
I don't know. Why are we comparing the two?
Oh, well, the reason why is it better than Paddington 2 is because of the whole debacle
Citizen
a few
Kane
years
thing.
ago. Like, that's the
Yeah.
only reason.
Yeah, but like, how do we feel on the tipping scales of School of Rock to Paddington 2?
Are you suggesting we get into the rating, my friend?
I don't know. Does that end the episode?
Usually.
Oh, I think this is as good a time as any.
Yeah, we've talked more
Right.
about like
We've waxed philosophical. on
we've
School of
waxed
Rock
philosophically more than we've talked about the actual movie.
because honestly, we can't describe it.
yeah,
You
like,
have to watch it.
if you haven't watched this movie already,
Fucking, how dare you?
if you haven't watched this movie already, one, it's 20 years old. What are you doing?
Yeah, get off.
Unless
your
you
ass.
unless you were born yesterday,
yeah, literally.
you should have watched this.
If you were
movie
born
by
2
now.
days ago, I want it in your brain.
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Like I want you, if you haven't seen this movie already somehow, I want
And
you
you've
to,
listened to this whole podcast and not gone to watch it.
exactly. If you have somehow made it through this episode without turning it off and watching School of Rock instead, I want you to go and watch School of Rock right now.
Yeah, pull your head out of your ass
Pull your head out of your
and
ass.
buy School of Rock on DVD and buy a DVD player and watch it.
Yeah.
Don't stream it.
Don't stream it.
Buy it. Find it at a pawn shop.
Buy it because it will be so worth it for you to own it.
Yeah.
Because
I own it's the one DVD I own.
Exactly. Like this is a movie that you won't. I don't think you watch it all the time.
I watch it once a year.
You will. This is a movie that after you watch it, you will revisit it
Yeah.
again and again throughout the
You
rest
will
of your
think,
life.
oh man, I should watch School of Rock.
Because if this movie has reached you in the way that it is trying to,
You get it.
you'll get it, and you'll
You'll
know.
love it.
You'll love it. And if it hasn't, wait a while and try again.
Let it cook.
Let it cook a
simmer
little
in your little brain.
Like if you watch it and it doesn't immediately make that connection in your brain
Go fuck
that we
yourself.
have said that it will make, then step away from it for a while.
think about it.
Think about it for a while. Watch it again,
Yeah.
and just do that until you get it, because it is such a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's really all I can say about it.
So in comparison to Paddington 2.
So our rating of Paddington
Yes.
2, Paddington 2 is more of a benchmark rating rather than an actual comparison.
Sure.
So the rating for Paddington 2 averaged across several critic reviews online, several user reviews online, user reviews on Letterboxd and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Paddington 2 is at a 4-star
Okay.
on average.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rate School of Rock out of 5 stars?
10.
Rad.
10 out of 5. Whatever. It is doubly good, in my opinion, than literally any other movie I've watched. Other movies have been enjoyable. Other movies I've gone like, whoa, more about the cinematography because I'm a fucking video nerd.
Yeah.
But there has been literally no other movie that I have watched that has fulfilled me in such a way, has inspired me in such a way, has changed my life, that it isn't doubly good as literally any other movie I've seen.
To that point,
What's your actual ranking?
so like if I were to like rank this on a 5-star scale, it's
Yeah.
a 5.
Easy.
But to that point, I don't think you can really rank this.
No.
It's because here's the thing. The things that hold it back are way offset by the things that propel it forward.
Yeah.
The point of School of Rock isn't to have an incredible film experience. It's not to have flashy and cool cinematography. It's not to have cool camera movements.
It's to put on the best
it's-
goddamn rock show
for
you've
real, it's
ever
not
seen.
to have the best performances even. Like
No.
because they are child actors.
Yeah.
And child actors are very limited.
Yeah.
And that's not their fault. But like this movie, I don't think you can rank it because that's the point of this movie isn't to be a movie.
Yeah.
It's to tell you something about humanity and tell you something about yourself that maybe you haven't figured out yet, or maybe you do know but you've forgotten.
It's a goddamn philosophy.
It's
Stick it to the man and do it your way.
exactly. And so like for that reason, I'm not going to give this movie a rating.
Unrankable.
It's because that's not what it's about. It's not about saying, is this movie good or bad? It's not about whether it's good or bad. It's about how you receive it and how you respond to it and
Yeah.
what it does for you and how it inspires you and what it makes you want to go out into the world and do. It's about doing that thing and doing it your way
And
because
doing
that is
it
the
goddamn
coolest
well.
thing you can do.
Yeah. And I will say you've given us a perfect end because you've ended the podcast like how the movie ends.
Exactly.
You didn't give it the first place, but it was never about the first place.
This movie is neither better nor worse than Paddington 2 because it's an entirely different experience than a movie.
I personally think it's way better than Paddington 2.
That's an opinion thing though. Like this movie isn't about being better than Paddington 2. It's not about being better than any movie.
No.
It's about being its own thing.
And about being fucking cool for doing it.
Hell yeah. So thank you all for tuning into this episode, this very special episode, this very philosophical episode of Is It Better Than
Waxing
Paddington 2?
Poetic.
Join us again in a couple weeks. We will have another episode out every other Wednesday as usual. Check out our new show, 666-3 WZRD, The Wizard. Riley and I are co-creators, co-writers, co-hosts. It's
co-voice actors.
Co-voice actors. It's a big project that we've worked very hard on and are churning out more content for, and we will also be churning out more content for this show as usual. Yeah. So thank you all for listening. I hope that this was a satisfying review for you. If it fan.
Isn't, you haven't watched the movie enough.
Exactly. Go watch School of Rock.
Yeah, go watch that. Honestly, go buy School of Rock. I meant it when I said go to your local pawn shop, buy a DVD player, buy School of Rock, just sit there and watch it.
Exactly. So that's going to do us for this time. Thank you all for watching, and remember,
we love you.
If you're kind and polite, the world will be right. See you guys later.
Righteous.